All right. Awesome. And real quick, I just want to give a shout out because I know there's some new people in the chat. Hello, Jenna, Endrank, and Audiobook Empire was in here to support. So we're so glad to see you. Thank you so much. All right, Krystal. Oh, and also, if you guys have any questions for Krystal, put it in the chat and I'll keep an eye on it and we'll shoot more questions your way. All right, Krystal. So let's start with your name. We already know your name, but again,
I'm
the
Krystal.
character you're playing, the weirdest or funniest thing you've ever had to do for an audiobook, and your favorite, like your dream vacation spot.
Okay, I'm Krystal Hammond. I am playing Gailish Tumbletook. The weirdest thing I've ever done, I mean, if you're an audiobook narrator, this is normal. Like, we've all done this. But there was a time, like a year ago, maybe 2 years now, the air conditioning went out in our house. And I was narrating in basically a multi-layered blanket fort at that time. And it was really, really hot. And I still, even though the air conditioning was out, I still had to stay on deadline and hit that deadline. So there were no clothes to be had in my recording booth that day. Those days, plural. It was very literally steamy. Like a sauna in there.
Oh my! And it wasn't even a romance novel.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't anything like.
Oh no!
So yeah. If you're a narrator, cool. Like, you know, we've all done that, but that was fun. It has not ever gotten that bad in here. Yes. What was the last? Oh, dreamed vacation spot. I think I'd love to go to Thailand. I did my. Oh, yeah. Yes, I think it'd be really, really fun. They have some beautiful nature over there. And I actually did my master's thesis on a cemetery, like a Bronze Age cemetery in Thailand. So yeah, I'd love to go there for multiple different reasons.
That's cool. Now, how'd you get into narration?
So that's a little bit of a story, but the short of it is, well, I got cancer, which is a horrible way to start the story, but that's really, I would not be a narrator if I hadn't gotten cancer. In 2017, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at stage 4. Stage 4 in Hodgkin's is still treatable. So I went through 6 months of chemotherapy. I lost my I had to move home. So I lost my apartment, my car, my job, you know, everything that I had built, and moved back home. And what people don't always understand is after cancer treatment, it's a lot on you physically and also mentally and emotionally. So after I finished treatment, you know, I knew, you know, the cancer was gone. I was fine, but I was not physically ready to go back to work. And I definitely wasn't mentally ready to go back to work. Mm-hmm. So I started getting involved with the cancer community. I started with a really, really great writers group for cancer survivors with a charity called Cactus Cancer Society. The writing group is called Unspoken Ink. And cool. How that writers group works is we get a prompt, we write for 8 minutes, we share out loud what we just wrote. And I got feedback over and over and over again. Love what you wrote. Love how you said it. Would you please narrate something? Because this would be really cool. Mm-hmm. So I started looking into it after getting this feedback over and over again, and eventually just borrowed a Yeti, which I know is not what you should use, but that's all I knew at the time. And I just started doing things. I started looking up, how do I do this on this? What is this ACX thing? How do I make a profile? What's a demo? And I just started learning. And in 2020, the pandemic hit and I got a coach. And the rest is kind of history. I've gotten involved within the audiobook community and I've made a ton of friends and learned so much. And yeah, that's how I ended up here. So
that's really
it was
cool.
Not expected, but yeah.
Wow. And I'm glad you're doing better too. That's really good. Now for a silly question, Ojin Toad wants to know, Krystal, when was the last time you interacted with a goat?
A couple years ago.
Oh my gosh, legit?
No, yeah. I was at a friend's house and they had some goats. One was really small and cute.
Oh my, wait, like in the city? Because I thought you're never allowed to have. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
There's actually I was visiting some friends in Las Vegas, which is where I was when I got diagnosed. And there's actually a number of animal husbandry people in Las Vegas, and they had some goats.
That's so random. Oh my gosh. Wow, who knew? I was like, oh, that's going to be a rather like random question. Spencer wants to know about the inspiration for Gailish.
So Gailish is inspired by my very, very first D&D character, who was specifically designed to have a terrible memory, because I have a terrible memory because it's chemo, and who could just spout out whatever they were thinking and be absolutely silly, and I could just go and relax and have fun at the game. There's no like celebrity influence or cartoon well, not that I'm aware of. They're just designed to be someone who's really, really fun and enjoyable for me to play, and where my sense of humor can really come out.
Nice. And I think you said off stream, you do a lot of sci-fi, right? You said you do a lot of like, what was it, cyberpunk? No, just sci-fi.
No,
sci-fi.
It was science fiction, fantasy, horror, anything that's in the speculative fiction umbrella.
Cool. Matthew wants to know, do you have a favorite D&D race and class?
Not really. I started playing D&D at the beginning of the pandemic. So I have kind of, every time I do a new campaign, I kind of do something different. I try and pick a different race and class and just kind of get a feel for everything. Thus far, I'm really, really loving Gailish. So right now, I'm just going to say Gnome Ranger, because this has been so much fun.
Nice. And people want to hear your work. What are the 2 top audiobooks you'd say, check these out to start with?
I loved narrating The Heartbreak Bakery by A.R. Capetta. It's about a baker who realizes that the things that they bake carry their emotions with them and influence the people who eat them. And then I also narrated a YA fantasy called Where Oceans Burn by Casey L. Bond. It's about sky people versus sea people and battling, and the protagonist is very, very prickly, and I love her to death.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sitting in the hot seat and letting us get to know you better. That's so awesome. And I like how everything comes back to baking for all of us.